back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm Jordan Waldrop. I'm 19 years old. I'm from Alabama.
I'm Aries. Back home, they say they're 18 or 19. I say I'm 23. Everybody knows me here is 23. Nobody knows me as 19. Besides a few people that are special.
I have a mom. I don't have a dad, but I do have a mom. I don't know where my dad is, but my mom, she lives in Alabama right now, and I currently am living in South Beach.
My sister gave me she pierced my ear with a needle and gave me a cross, and had a long rat tail down to my ass, and I had my hair shaved on the sides, and I had a spike, and I was just the coolest kid. Because I'd started school late, a year late, and so all the kids in my class were scared of me. They all thought I'd beat them up and how I dressed. But it was just basically, I was just trashy, but I thought I was so cool at the time. But I'm sure it was cute. Long little rat tail and all that stuff. I lived with my mom till I was 6 years old. I lived with my grandparents till I was 10 years old. Me and my sister Natasha lived in a children's home. Lived in a children's home for 6 years. An orphanage home, foster home, whatever you want to call it. When I lived in the children's home, there was a 6-inch rule, and the girls lived on one side of the campus and the guys lived on one side of the campus. So when we were in quarantine, I was allowed to be with the girls. And so it was really, really, really nice, and a lot of stuff happened in that dorm, to say the least.
And the hardest thing is that my family, they don't understand. Like me wanting to pack up my stuff and go to South Beach. They wanted me to stay there, go to college, be a lawyer. But my grandma, like, as soon as I told her I was moving, she's like, "You're going to hell, you're going to hell." And it's just like they're really set in their ways, and they're older people, I mean. But I love my grandparents. But they don't understand. Every time I talk to them on the phone, it's constantly, "You gotta move back, you gotta move back."
This is my spikes, my new spikes. But I do it different for every day. Today's today, and I wear spikes. It's different all the time.
I mean, this is the Gap. I didn't used to work here, but I used to work at the one in Mississippi. 3 years, lifelong labor. 16 till I was 19. Here's a shirt I designed. I bought at a thrift store. I took this shirt, I cut it in half, and then I took strings. I took a needle, thread, and I sewed it up. I connected it back together. That's just a little bit of what I like to do. And I go to thrift stores, cut all my t-shirts off, cut them up.
I need shampoo. I need shampoo.
Shampoo.
Whoa.
I went to get a job at Outback one time, and this stupid, like, I was needing more money because my car payment or something, and I had to take a test, and I feel really stupid. I failed their test, but I don't think anybody could have passed it. I think they just didn't want me, and so they made me take the test because they asked me questions like, "What two oceans surround Australia?" And they like, "What these Australian words mean in English?" And it's like, how in the hell am I going to know this stuff? I'm not Australian, for one, and I'm not that good at geography. So I failed the test and didn't get the job. They said, "If you can't pass this, then we can't even consider hiring you." There's Outback. Oh my God, there's Outback right there on the right. Ah! But I went once a week. We went every single Friday to eat this meal. It was my favorite meal. When I was 16 years old, I moved in with my mom. But I was in for a big reality check because I hadn't lived with my mom since I was 6 years old, and so she didn't raise kids, and so she had this persona and image of how she was going to start raising a kid at 16 years old, which you can't do. You got to raise a kid from the beginning, and she didn't do that. And so she tried to throw all these how she was going to raise me, and I'm like, you know something, I'm pretty much already raised. I'm set in my ways. And I was never bitter, but one thing I disagreed with my mom, she was never sorry for anything that ever happened to us in our life. Like she said, everything that happened to us in our life was our fault. So we should have known better at the age of 5 and 6 years old not to do the things we did. This was my first love. The Filipino girl right there, she's 20 years old. She goes to Mississippi State. First girl I've ever tripped over. Ragged, rough boy look.
which I don't have, but I'm trying to do today. And this is my body before it's ever really been worked on. I gotta work on it.
No, I don't know who my dad is because my mom had a few boyfriends at the time when she got pregnant with me. It was about 5 or 6 guys. She liked boys. She don't know who it was. She actually met a guy like the month she got pregnant with me, and that's where my last name Waldrop comes from. People ask me, do I feel like I missed out on not knowing who my dad is? You know something? My dad missed out on knowing who I was because I'm the fierce one. No, for real. Not knowing who my dad is, it never really affected me that much. And everybody's always like, don't you want to know who your dad is? Don't you want to know who he is? And the only thing to me is, I feel like I would like my dad to see how I turned out. That's the only thing, because I feel like he would have been proud. I graduated the salutatorian in my class, second in class. I got a good head on my shoulder and all that stuff, and so I don't feel like I missed out on anything not having him around. So I bought $100 worth of Starburst, and Natasha bought $100 worth of just Coke, candy, everything. And the lady at the desk had to have been just plumb stupid because she goes, "Does your mom know you're doing this?" And I was like, "Yeah, my mom gave us permission." And she's like, "Okay." So I had a $100 bag full of Starburst, and my sister had a $100 bag. I was 5 years old walking down the street with $100 worth of Starburst, and this lady like let us do it, like whatever. Nobody knows the troubles I see. I started playing the piano when I was 6 years old. My grandpa started teaching me to play the piano, and he was really a Southern style gospel, so I learned Southern style gospel. And when I came to the home, they had a different style of playing. It was very, very contemporary Christian, so I changed up my style. I started taking piano lessons. They couldn't really think I play like this. And we heard a knock at the door, and you know how when you hear a knock at the door and you're a kid, you always got to run to the door, see who's the first one there? Well, like, I never forget, we started to run towards the door, and like halfway to the door, I heard a walkie-talkie. And so I grabbed my sister to the floor, and it was like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And we just stopped on the floor, and like we looked up at the door, and there's a police officer standing behind the door, and he kept knocking on the door, and he's like shining flashlight in the room. So all we could do was like crawl to the bedroom and crawled under my mom's bedroom. Under the bed. And they shined flashlights in the window until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, like knocking on the doors and all this stuff. And so finally, about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, all the knocking had stopped and the flashlights had stopped, and so we're like, okay, they're gone. We just came out of the store where we went in just to cool down. We took a little walk all the way around the store just to cool down. And see, look at these people walking in. Wow. There are happy families here in South Beach. Look at this kooky Chinese woman. I don't have on underwear. Really? No underwear.
Truthfully, it's hard trying to practice happiness. The time we committed love, it was real good. Had to be for me to rhyme, and it still feel good. I know the sex ain't gonna keep you, but that's my equal.
Okay. Nice off.